Coming up on the Cam Show, Brandon Aiyuk's BS, John Henry's BS, Steve Kerr's BS, plus maybe the most exciting USA basketball game of all time, and guys naming dudes. All that and more coming up on the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Music! Zach? Welcome in. Happy Friday. It is the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. I'm your host, Cam Stewart. Wow, a lot to go over, weirdly, in the Boston sports landscape and what comes after preseason game number one, a night that the Red Sox are off, and a night that the Bruins and Celtics barely exist. Yes, because Brandon Aiyuk news, again, coming out on why he didn't want to go to the Patriots. Like, we get it, Brandon. You didn't want to come to the Patriots. We get it. No need to keep rubbing it in, but we get that anyway. He apparently did not want to come to New England because of the quarterback situation with the Patriots. And a lot of fans around the NFL are saying, of course, that makes perfect sense. But to me, I don't know that it makes a lot of sense. In the short term, absolutely. Absolutely. The Patriots don't know when their number 3 overall pick is going to actually start in the NFL. It's going to be Jacoby Brissett to start. The retread quarterback of the year, Jacoby Brissett. But the other options for Brandon Aiyuk, right now, as we record, he is still not decided, the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers have potentially a future Hall of Fame quarterback, but one whose career has fallen so hard off the tracks, the Broncos are taking like the biggest empty cap hit in the history of the league to get rid of him. The Steelers are just taking a flyer on Russell Wilson. And they've got a quarterback behind him in Justin Fields, a former top 15 pick, who's on the last legs of his NFL career. Like, these two guys were run out of the building in their two previous homes. Like, okay, so the Steelers quarterback situation is that much better? I don't know. The Browns, they're paying a quarterback a lot of money. They made the playoffs last year. They started 4 different quarterbacks last year. They had to pull Joe Flacco off the street to make it to the playoffs. And that OC who was there is no longer there. The quarterback coach is now the OC with the Patriots. So a guy who can make your quarterback situation work almost no matter what it was, as recently as last year, is the OC for the team that you just said no to because you don't believe in that quarterback situation. Which, again, right now is not good. Jacoby Brissett. But this is a team that just spent the number 3 overall pick on a quarterback with a very high ceiling. And one of the things he really needs is an ex-receiver who can win on the outside. That's you, Brandon. That's you, Brandon Aiyuk. You could almost single-handedly make this organization's quarterback situation much better, more so than you can probably do with the other two. So it's just not as cut and dry as, well, Jacoby Brissett's their starter right now. If you're signing a 4-year deal, you're not worried about Jacoby Brissett. You're worried about Drake May. And I look at the Pittsburgh situation. Maybe Russell Wilson gets it back together, but how much longer does he have in this league? Is he going to be there through the life of your contract? Or is Justin Fields the guy you believe in for the rest of your contract? Deshaun Watson, you think he's going to be there for the life of your contract? Don't bet your life on it, man. Guy gets hurt all the time. Again, 4 quarterbacks last year. I'm just saying. So, yeah, in 2024, those teams might have a slightly better quarterback situation than the Patriots have, especially because you don't know when Drake May is going to play. But A, it's not that much better. And B, whoever's going to sign him or trade for him is going to then sign him. You got to look at a 4-year proposition, Brandon, or a 5-year proposition, Brandon, not the first few weeks of this year. Anyway, the Patriots played last night. They might never lose this whole season. 17-3, lose the shutout late against those vaunted Carolina Panthers. And boy, they made life hell for Jack, don't call me Jake Plummer. The team that was the worst in the league last year and didn't even play their starters, the Carolina Panthers. Look, I mean, the defense looked good. you got to take the competition into it, and you've also got to remember that this is preseason week 1. A lot of people surprised at how much we saw of Bailey Zappi. 1 drive for Jacoby Brissett, 1 drive for Drake May. The rest were made up of Bailey Zappi and Joe Milton. Zappi got 7 of them. 6 of them were punts. 1 of them was a touchdown. Why are we surprised that Bailey Zappi's playing this much? Oh, he didn't get any. He got the least amount of reps in practice. Yeah. They're not carrying 4 quarterbacks in the regular season. They want to get rid of Bailey Zappi. And he's getting reps in the preseason games the same way their starter did 6 years ago when they were trying to get rid of him, Jacoby Brissett. Like, this is no mystery. They are evaluating their quarterbacks in practice. Other teams are evaluating their quarterbacks during the preseason games. So they're evaluating Drake May and Joe Milton and Jacoby Brissett in the 7-on-7s and the red zone and the joint practices that are coming up this week with the Eagles. They don't really care about evaluating their quarterbacks in the preseason games. Definitely not in preseason week number 1. That's why Bailey Zappi's out there, for other teams to see him. And so when one of their backups gets hurt before the start of the regular season, they can go make a trade for Bailey Zappi. Am I underthinking this? It seems very obvious to me that that's what they're doing. And Zappi was not great. Who could have thought it? In fact, he was one pretty great Kayshon Boutte catch away from being 7 of 7 for his punts to drive ratio. Joe Milton comes in, and boy, does he have a flair for the dramatic. Throws a touchdown pass to that guy whose name I already forgot, and has that 12-yard rush that he runs about 50 yards on. You've seen it on Twitter by now. He's snaking all around the pocket and in the zone backfield, and he uses his speed to beat 3 guys, get a first down run. The place was buzzing. We're going to see more of Drake May in these other games. I don't think we're going to see him a ton, to be totally honest with you. I think they're going to do all their evaluations in practice, especially the ones. I think it's just 1 this week, maybe 2 this week with the Philadelphia Eagles. That's where you're going to see Drake May, and that's where you're going to see Drake May evaluated. That's where you're going to see Drake May's stats from the beat reporters on Twitter. That's where you're going to see it. So, I mean, I can't take anything really positively or negatively away from this game, although I will take one negative. The tackle positions looked bad, which they're going to be bad. Interior offensive line looks good. I've always liked Sidney So since he came in last year. Mike Onwenu, you would have loved to him to work at tackle. Didn't work. You re-signed him to play guard, and obviously the stalwart David Andrews in the middle. But it's not going to matter who the quarterback is if they don't figure out this tackle situation. And I said it yesterday. We talked about Mike Debate with it, that as great as Brandon Aiyuk is and as sexy a pickup as that would be, if you don't have an offensive line, what quarterback is going to get Brandon Aiyuk the ball? Brandon Aiyuk should have said, I don't like the Patriots quarterback situation. Brandon Aiyuk should have said, I don't like the Patriots left tackle position. I don't like where they're at. That would have made more sense. Steve Kerr almost really fucked this thing up for Team USA, and it is very much intertwined with his wild treatment of Jason Tatum. We're going to talk about that next on The Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Team USA is in the gold medal game. It was exciting. It was frightening. We talk a little bit more about the comeback later on in the show. My trusted pal, Braden Murray, is going to talk about that with me and what might be the most exciting USA basketball game ever, maybe since the 72 Olympics when they lost to the Russians. Maybe the most exciting win Team USA basketball's ever had. Anyway, it almost didn't happen, and it almost didn't happen mainly because of their head coach, Steve Kerr. And I could not let this go by just because they won to withhold criticism from Steve Kerr, because that was atrocious. He almost had the single greatest USA basketball embarrassment in history by himself, because Serbia was dominating the game. They were up 17 in the first half. They're hitting a bunch of threes. They're up 11 at the break and then 13 going into the fourth quarter. The U.S. was dead on the vine. And it was with these brain-dead rotations, man. It just, I couldn't believe it. Even Steve Kerr's players, Draymond Green, were attacking his rotations on Twitter. Draymond Green, who a lot of coaches would have given up on with his antics. He might not be still in the NBA and making the money that he's making if not for Steve Kerr. And even he's saying, why isn't Durant out there? Or sometimes you got to scratch the rotations, man. You got to scrap these things. Everyone was saying it but Steve Kerr. And he's lucky that, Kevin Durant, LeBron James, Steph Curry are on the team and they took over in the fourth quarter. But the man, after game one, Kerr was saying how sorry he was that he didn't play Jason Tatum, acting like he made the biggest mistake of his life. And then he did it again. And then he did it again in a knockout game. He sits him completely. DNP CD. He is the only first-team All-NBA guy to get benched for a game at the Olympics for Team USA. They've now done it twice. And by the way, 2 DNP CDs for Tyrese Halliburton and still one for Joel Embiid. The MVP of the league last year, 2023, he was the MVP of the league. And he's getting a DNP CD in the Olympics? What are we doing here? Oh, it's tough to play all 12 guys in 40 minutes. Really? Because every other USA coach has done it. Shit, Anthony Davis was getting minutes in 2012. Christian Laettner was getting minutes on the Dream Team. Chris Mullin was getting minutes on the Dream Team. What are we doing? What are we doing here? And by the way, Serbia was killing the USA in the inside-out game. They were draining threes, and they were also getting great looks inside because of up fakes on threes. How about having a 6'9" versatile wing defender out there to put a stop to that? If only you had one rotting away on your bench. It made no sense. It still doesn't make any sense. He was so apologetic after the first time, and then he just goes and does this shit again. And to even it out with the Celtics thing, if you want to say it's a Celtics bias on this Boston sports show, Drew Holiday and Derek White for the first time at this Olympics did not have good games. And what still befuddles me is not only has he not played Jason Tatum barely at all in these Olympics, coming off a double-double, Jason Tatum was coming off a double-double and didn't play at all in this knockout game. But what also befuddles me is he has not once put out Tatum, Holiday, Derek White together. Like, one of the things that USA coaches or international coaches in general will complain about is you don't have a lot of time to give these guys chemistry. Thankfully for the U.S., they've had a lot of guys who have played on the teams before. Steph Curry, LeBron James, Jason Tatum. Lest we forget, he's won a gold medal, too, as the team's second leading scorer in that Olympics. But one way to fix that is, I've got 3 guys from the same team, from the NBA champions, the team that just won, 82 games, 80 games, 80 and 21 throughout the whole season. I've got 3 guys who are from that starting 5. Why don't I play them together? Or, hey, I've got 2 of them out there right now. They're struggling. What if I put the guy they defer to 8 months out of the year on the floor with them? Stephen A. Smith made a great point with that. Like Drew Holiday and Derek White, while very good players, and Drew Holiday, probably a future Hall of Famer, like they are on Jason Tatum's team. They defer to him 8 months out of the year, and yet those guys get way more playing time in the Olympics? And I've heard the argument, well, of course, Tatum's not going to play over Kevin Durant. 2 things to that. First off, why not? Kevin Durant's a great player. Jason Tatum is a better player in the NBA right now. But you want to say, okay, Kevin Durant is a better scorer. Fine. We'll put that out there. Why didn't he play Kevin Durant till the second half? That seemed pretty brain dead. It's not just the not playing Tatum thing. A lot of this has not made sense. He barely plays Durant in the first half. He keeps Booker and Anthony Edwards out there the whole first half so that I can watch them brick shot after shot after shot. And Jason Tatum, coming off a double-double, was sitting on the bench. The U.S. could win gold completely in spite of Steve Kerr. Because it's not just me. A lot of people, most everyone watching, doesn't know what the fuck he's doing and thinks this guy doesn't have a clue. And it might come down to questioning his legacy, because we were this close to the U.S. losing that game to Serbia and potentially not medaling. And if that happened, which it's not going to get to now, but if that happened, we would have had Steve Kerr at 2 tournaments for the USA basketball. They did not medal at the FIBA World Championships, and they would not have medaled at these games. That is so beyond unacceptable for this basketball program. I mean, we're talking about silver medals as unacceptable. But the U.S. right where they need to be. The gold medal game tomorrow against the host France after an exhilarating comeback against Serbia. But this is abhorrent from Steve Kerr. By the way, there's one guy who leads the NBA in playoff points, threes, and free throws and playoff wins in the 2020s. His name is Jason Tatum. Steve Kerr gave him 0 minutes in an elimination game when it was all going wrong for this team. And they were down double digits after every single quarter. He never thought, oh, I've got a 3-time first-team All-NBA player just sitting on my bench. Maybe he'll help this thing out. Never thought that. There's something going on here. I don't know what it is, but this does not make any sense. That there are 2 games in this Olympics that you thought, I don't need Jason Tatum. In fact, it would be best if we didn't have him here at all. What are we talking about? And yet a replacement on this team, a last-second replacement on this team, is getting way more playing time in Derek White. I don't think there's been any answer that has satisfied me nor most of the basketball watching public, even the ones that troll Jason Tatum. Because, by the way, this was a cultural universal yesterday across social media. People of all fan bases, what the hell's going on? Like, Tatum is the one that they poke fun at the most during the season. The one that they troll the most. And yet people are like, why is this guy not playing? By the way, Celtics are saying it about Joel Embiid. Celtics fans are saying it about Embiid when he was not playing. There is no excuse that I think could really make sense. You want to throw the matchups thing out there? Okay, you can do that for a game. Now you've used that twice? No. I'm sorry. No. And as Dan Greenberg said on this show, he made a great point about this. One of the great things about Jason Tatum, in fact, maybe his best asset, is that he is so switchable defensively in that he can guard any position on the floor, and he is able to play inside or outside or inside out, can play about 4 different offensive positions as well. That means there shouldn't be a matchup that's not conducive to Jason Tatum. There shouldn't be a lineup that, Tatum's not a good fit here. Like, I'm starting to think Steve Kerr's just a Twitter troll who roots for another team and is mad the Celtics beat them by 50 fucking points this year. I don't know. But another point that Greeny brought up, which is certainly ringing true still today, is Steve Kerr and USA Basketball might have lost the plot for the future. Because, I mean, any one of those guys seeing Jason Tatum on the bench, guys who are on the team and guys who are not on the team, who are, USA Basketball players who could be on the next team, they all got to be thinking, is it going to be me next? Or like Joel Embiid, am I going to be on the bench for the gold medal game? It's going to deter people from coming and playing for this team in 2028 and 2032. Make no mistake. If it's still Steve Kerr and it's still this rotational bullshit, a lot of these guys aren't going to want to put up with it in 2028 or 2032. They're like, I just went through a long season. I've got a summer. I don't want to deal with this bullshit. And that's fair. I still hope they win the gold medal. But if they don't, it will be a serious eye-opener to this Steve Kerr experiment, which has gone horribly wrong. He was great at keeping that team together for the Warriors. That has just finally been broken up. 4-time NBA champion. Can't argue his resume as an NBA coach. But he has lost the plot completely as the international coach. And while I hope they win the gold medal, it would be a great disservice to Steve Kerr's coaching job. That's all I'll say. I think they are going to win. Braden Murray does not. We're going to talk about that on the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. That's coming up next. Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. Braden, whoa.
You know what? It wasn't. It wasn't Kansas. I was on the field. Sorry.
So it could have been Kansas State.
I was on the field for that game. Anyways.
You were on the field for every game.
Not all of them.
Anyway.
Anywho.
Cam Show, brought to you by Rogue Media Sports Network. Braden, whoa. That basketball game yesterday.
That one game. Yeah.
That was incredible. That was like the best. It might be the best Olympic basketball game I've ever seen.
How many have you seen?
I mean, mostly USA games. So they're not usually that close.
I usually don't watch Olympic basketball.
You hate America.
Yep.
Knew it. But you watched yesterday.
I did. I watched the fourth quarter.
So you didn't even see how dire it was.
I had been eating lunch, just minding my own business. And I was, oh, wait, aren't we playing right now? And I get on Twitter, and I see
you
just
said, yes, we are.
People were very doom and gloom.
Oh, my God, man.
And
it was bad.
I remember I was going to lay down for a nap at like 3.
God, what a life.
And I see that we're down against Serbia, and it's late in the third quarter. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll tune in and see if we can pull it together.
And they did. But it was dire. Like, it was not good. They were down 17 in the first half. They got it to 11 at the half and, like, started scoring a little bit more in the third quarter. But they went from down 11 at the half to down 13 at the end of the third quarter with 10 minutes left. They were down 13.
That's when I got the ESPN
The other teams got the
notification.
MVP. It was tough. It was tough, man. And there were a lot of things that the U.S. didn't do right, which I talked about earlier in the show, like Kerr's rotations. Like, I don't like saying that, you know, coaches who win and then they're like, oh, well, that was in spite of the coach.
Mm-hmm.
But this was absolutely an example of winning in spite of the coaching. It happens in basketball more than probably any other sport. But that was brain dead. And it was just, hey, I need my old horses. LeBron,
My reliable, yeah.
Steph, KD, who we decided to play in the second half, and they're going to get me there. And they got me there. But this Serbia team pissed me off, man. I know you didn't see it in the first half, but Bogdan Bogdanovic, that kid's a prick. Like, he was hitting shots and, like, yelling at refs, yelling at the U.S. players, and yelling at Carmelo Anthony.
I saw that.
I don't know what happened there. I don't know if Carmelo Anthony made some sort of threat to the nation of Serbia, but they were so into talking shit to him. And, like, at one point in the second quarter, they had to, like, stop the game because I think someone had called a timeout anyway, but Bogdan Bogdanovic was, like, yelling, talking shit to Melo, and, like, LeBron got in his face. Like, what are you doing, dude? And I was like, thankful they've woken up the beast.
Mm-hmm.
And then a quarter and a half later is when they actually woke up. But, my God, what Steph Curry and LeBron did in that fourth quarter.
Yeah.
That was legendary.
It was legendary.
Like, that was cool. That's my favorite LeBron. That's when he's playing for my team. My favorite Steph when he's playing for my team. But it was like, it was a genuine put the team on my back kind of stuff that we don't usually see from Team USA because they're so loaded all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But it was teetering, Braden, on being the biggest embarrassment in USA basketball history.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was going to be it. Because, like, there was a chance that, you know, you lose that game. There's a chance you don't medal at all.
Yeah.
U.S. probably wins a bronze medal game against almost anybody. But they were getting run out of the building by Serbia. And the big thing was Serbia hit a bunch of threes, which I talked about in the Kerr segment. But they, going into the fourth quarter, were 14 of 28 from three. And they finished 15 for 39. 1 of 11 in the final quarter. And the U.S. ended up shooting 50% from three. 16 to 32. It was just vintage stuff, and they're plus 17 in the fourth, and down the stretch, LeBron has a couple of steals coast to coast. Curry hits big shots. KD's last shot is huge. I mean, as exciting a game as I've ever seen for USA basketball.
Yeah, and Embiid had some good plays there towards the end.
Embiid was awesome.
Although there was one point
we got
where
to see him shine in a playoff game, a knockout game.
Where I think it was maybe a 1 or 2 point game there towards the end, and he just threw the ball out of bounds. And on the next play, he lost a rebound. Or it was like, oh, Joel Embiid, after all the good you've done this quarter, those 2 plays.
There was a play early in the fourth when they were really starting to make the comeback, and Curry got the ball at 3-point behind the arc, and there was a defender closing in on him. So he kind of gave a look to the basket and quick pass to Joel Embiid, who was also beyond the arc. And Embiid started to pull up like he's going to shoot, and I was like, Joel, if Steph Curry is passing up a three, you do not then take the three. You don't. We got the best three-point shooter of all time who was red hot in this game passing up a three. You don't then take one. But, no, he had some big moments. I mean, he threw down on Jokic pretty hard early in that second half and had some big moments, which, again, is weird for us to see. Joel Embiid in a knockout game. He's not been a great playoff performer in his career. Part of that is because he didn't have a lot around him in Philadelphia. But we're talking about a big-time knockout basketball game, and he's got a good cast around him, and he makes some big plays.
What do you think about Serbia's decision to not foul there? I think they get
last possession.
Yeah, I think the Warriors, not the Warriors, Steph Curry has the ball with like 20 seconds left, and they do like the passing across both sides of the court.
Yeah.
And they don't foul until there's 8 seconds left.
Yeah,
someone flops.
Yeah, they try. That was a desperate attempt.
That was a desperate attempt. Yeah.
I think they were too focused on don't foul Curry. He's too good a shooter, or if not, then also don't foul Durant.
Yeah,
and those are the two guys that touch the ball. So, I thought that was a poor decision. I mean, U.S. got the ball with like
20 seconds or so.
Yeah, 25 seconds. There was plenty of time for Serbia to foul and get a good look at three, which fourth quarter was not going well, but they were shooting pretty well going into that quarter. I think they were shooting out of their mind.
They're only down 2 at that point.
Yeah, so you can work with that. But I'm saying, like, you go down 4, you could set up a 3, drop a play, set up a 3, because they did have a timeout left, and then you go back to fouling. And you know what I mean? Like, you can play that game out for 20 seconds.
Yeah.
But they didn't. They didn't. And I think it was just good old-fashioned American talent. Like, Serbia has 2, maybe 3, I think 3 NBA players on the roster. They had someone who's not an NBA player go off, that Armanovic or whatever, something that ends in itch. But like I think Jokic, Jovic, and Bogdanovic are really the only ones who are like rotation players in the NBA.
Something I saw on Twitter last night before I went to bed. There was some American fan. No, it was a soccer fan. Mm-hmm. He was talking about there's guy Bogdanovic. If he's not on an NBA roster, a team should look out. And people were like, he's literally on the Hawks.
He is.
He's on the Hawks. But also,
and even if not, like, anyway, yeah.
There was an American fan who was like, kudos to the Serbian national team. They really gave this great American team a run for their money. And Kevin Durant, at 5 a.m. in Paris, dude, he says, "Where are you from?"
I love that.
And that's great.
Kevin Durant had like a tirade on Twitter last night too.
Yeah.
Which, like, KD, obviously one of the great players of all time. One of the best offensive players I've ever seen. Like, incredible mismatch guy. But he's got like a weird off the court life.
He's got Twitter
in
fingers.
The public. Yes. Like he seems like a nice guy.
Twitter fingers. He's also
he's got major Twitter fingers, like way thin skin. And one of the arguments he used last night is he will always be one of those guys that's like, well, you didn't play in the NBA, you can't comment on it. You know what I mean? Like he said one thing about like fans and talk show hosts was like, you want to be part of the brotherhood, but you're not. And it's like, well, no, we don't. We want to talk about sports. And there are some athletes who think that, like, if you didn't play the game, you can't say anything about it. And Kevin Durant is one of them. And he's also, I think, would be one of those players who would be like, oh, you know, if he got into an argument with another NBA player, would be like, well, I'm one of the best players of all time. What can you say to me?
Yeah.
Like, it's a weird, he's never beating those allegations, I don't think.
I've also seen these people make fun, not make fun of him, but pointing out that he's a mid to late 30s with no kids and never had any romantic interests.
Right, never
which
had.
People think is weird.
And it is kind of like odd. I mean, you know, whatever he wants to do. Like nobody actually, well, some people, but on the whole, nobody actually gives a shit.
Right.
But if you saw that in your life, you know, a guy in his mid to late 30s, very successful, and you've never seen him in a romantic relationship, that would look weird. But it's also, I don't think it's anything to judge him on. But yeah, you're right. A lot of people point that out. They pointed it out for Aaron Rodgers for a while before the Olivia Munn thing. I think they pointed it out with Verlander before Kate Upton. Yeah. Like, anyway, you think they're going to win tomorrow?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
You think they're going to lose to France?
Yeah. They almost lost to Serbia.
I mean, yeah, but they're better than France. They almost lost to Serbia because of an abomination coaching job. Okay, is what I think.
Who's to say it won't happen again tomorrow?
I guess you're right, Braden. They did overcome it.
That's true.
Wemby will give him fits.
Wemby, Gobert.
Is Gobert going to play?
I don't know.
He didn't even play last game. Home court advantage. Truth. France. Maybe they pay off the refs because the French people don't like Joel Embiid for playing for the USA. That could happen. Steve Kerr's going to overthink it and not play Embiid at all again. Probably. You're picking France.
I think I am.
I am a good red-blooded American, okay? I'm picking the US of A, baby. And France can't win shit without our help, as history has shown, okay? And we're not helping them in this game. I've got the U.S. by 12 points.
Okay.
And they've got a fifth straight gold medal. And if not, we drive the Tatum agenda down everyone's throat for 4 more years.
I think we're going to be screwed in 2028, though.
Why is that?
LeBron, Steph, and KD are all old. Could retire before then.
Yep, probably will.
Where will that leave the U.S. national team?
I think the other players that are all NBA guys will also be a little bit older. So I think they'll be okay. I think the U.S. will be okay. Fine. Fuck it. I'll book it. 2028 will gold medal as well.
Okay. What about 2032?
Why not? Scott Drew coaching the team. I'm in. Why not? Beating Bahamas in the gold medal game. Where surly veteran VJ Edgecombe,
5-time NBA champion VJ Edgecombe,
gets his shot at the gold medal and loses out. Yes, I've got the U.S. in at least the next 2. 2036, I'm willing to listen.
That's in 12 years.
I'm willing to listen after that. Okay. We've got to talk about guys naming dudes. We have to name some dudes.
65 in 12 years?
Yeah, just about. Yeah. It depends on when the Olympics fall because I'm a late July birthday. Yeah. Let's name some dudes. Next on the Camp Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. This is Guys Naming Dudes on the Cam Show on Rogue Media Sports Network. Braden Murray, Zach Burke. I don't know which side you guys are on in post, so I'm just pointing.
Yeah, we'll be on either side of you.
You'll
be in the
middle.
So
one of your sides.
Either way, I'm right when I say Braden Murray, Zach Burke.
Right.
And we're both at the same time.
Exactly.
Actually, you might not even be able to see. I got to be real close to my face to do that.
That's true, because it's hard to fit 3 of us on a screen at one time.
It's difficult. It's difficult. The egos in this room in general.
Well, yeah.
It's tough to have the three of us on a microphone at the
constantly,
same
yeah.
time. These are three titans right here.
And can we use a different word than Titans?
Yeah, preferably not the
Fine.
Titans.
Fine, you Oilers apologists. We have three Colossuses.
There we go.
Colossi. Three big dick swingers at the Cracker Factory. Right here. And guys naming dudes. Which now sounds a little homoerotic when talking about big dick swingers at the Cracker Factory. Guys naming dudes is when we talk about guys who had great peaks or good peaks that were at one time famous or pretty good in their sports, but have been kind of lost to history. And the streets remember them now. And we're accepting of all athletes and all people on this pod, on this show. All right, which one of you guys wants to go first with your dudes?
Braden, I'll offer, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like I usually start off, so I'll just do it again.
I don't
mind being
remember
the leadoff hitter. Hitter.
Okay.
I'll try to get on base. Y'all just bring me home.
That's the goal, Zach.
This is a dude, I feel like, that comes from a position. Thanks. That comes from a position that there aren't many dudes in. We're looking in the world of football.
Okay.
Now, this is somebody that I don't think they haven't played since 2018 was their last season. Okay. I don't think they're going to be a Hall of Famer.
7, yeah.
Because it's usually this position doesn't usually produce a lot of Hall of Famers.
Okay.
But I will tell you, the man was the man at the position for a while. A little problem with the law on and off in college and in the pros. But he was a second-team All-ACC member his freshman year in 1997. Here's the thing. He played from 2000 to 2018 in the NFL.
Wow.
Okay? Mm-hmm. So, two-time first-team All-ACC. The next, I think, you already know who this is?
I don't know where this guy went to college that I'm thinking of.
Okay.
Which I should know, but
also,
I just think with your other hints, I might
That's
know.
fine. Also a consensus All-American and a unanimous All-American at one point in time. Before I give away, I'm going to give away one award that he won in college that would let's absolutely give it away, so I'm going to skip that.
Yeah, let's think through it right now, Braden. Played 19 years in the NFL, and it's at a position that doesn't get a lot of shine. Okay? So immediately let's take out like fullback.
Oh, okay.
What is running through your head right now of what positions this could be? Like you can't play 19 years of fullback.
Like right tackle?
Could be.
I'll add.
I'm thinking a position that you might excel in another sport.
That the same skill set would help you in another sport?
Yes. Yes.
I could see that. And I can see that sometimes.
I'm thinking kicker or punter.
Yeah.
He was a 2-time Lou Garza Award winner.
And that's either kicking or punting. I've played college football in a long time.
He was a Pro Bowler in 2011.
Okay.
And a second-team All-Pro that year, too.
Was he a Raider?
He was.
Yeah, Brayden, yeah.
I didn't think Brayden would get it. But come on, bring it home.
Let's go.
Janikowski?
You are correct. I am talking about Seabass himself, Sebastian
Janikowski. He was playing in the league before you were born. Let's go, Brayden.
I did not think Brayden would get it.
That's a big get for Brayden.
Nice.
Where did he go to school?
Florida State.
Okay.
So he played 3 years at Florida State. I did notice in looking this up, he was arrested 3 times at Florida, or 4 times at Florida State, 3 times in Oakland by 2003. So like 7 different arrests in a span of 6 years.
Mainly kind of cleaned his act up.
Mainly though, it was a lot of bar fights, or DUIs or drug possession, things like that. Now in 2010, I did see that he was charged with battery.
So like Sebastian and Seabass character from Dumb and Dumber both make sense.
Yes.
Towards that nickname.
Yeah. But yeah,
Seabass played by the great Cam Neely, by the way.
There you go. His longest, I'll just add this. His longest field goal was 63 yards.
Yeah.
But there is an infamous play where the Raiders marched him out there for a 76-yard field goal. And you thought that it could he's not going to make it. But if anybody could, the dude had a leg on him.
Yeah. And some girth.
Yeah.
If I recall, that didn't come close.
Oh, no, it didn't. But there
It
for a
was
minute, you're
very
like,
not close.
I get. It's just so weird to see like the 40s on the opposite side of the field while you're.
I've done that in Madden before. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong.
Yeah.
In fact, I think there was once a time when I was in middle school where I did, like, just put the kicker sliders all the way up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And played with probably the Patriots, so Gostowski, and would just do that. Like, I would just like spike the ball on 3rd and 9 in my own territory just to see how far
you could kick it.
we could kick. Yeah.
I will add just these things real quick. I didn't get to. He has multiple NFL records. Longest field goal in overtime of 57 yards
Yes,
against the Jets.
crazy one.
Most field
Jets.
goals in one quarter with
Which I think
4.
knocked the Jets out of the playoffs.
Most field goals of 50-plus yards in a career with 58. Most field goals of 60-plus yards in a career with 8 of those. Most extra points in a Pro Bowl with 8. And the longest field goal attempted, that 76-yarder against the Chargers in 2008.
Does it say what position he was drafted? Like what round?
He was, it's first round pick 17.
First round.
Wow.
Pick
I
17.
was thinking he was a first round.
Yeah, he was.
pick. He and like Jan Stenerud.
I'm trying to see. I don't think, did the Raiders have another pick before, or was he there? I'm pulling up the.
That would be wild.
That's not
I mean, this is a
something I
guy who
would
picked
know.
a punter in the first round, lest we forget Al Davis.
Yeah.
The late, great Al Davis.
Great.
He was the first.
I guess he
pretty
did
great,
win.
man.
He won a couple of
I mean,
ships.
by the end, he kind of lost his fastball. But
I was
the
thinking of
Raiders,
his son. I was thinking about.
It was the Raiders'
Mark
first
seems like
pick.
a great guy.
He's got a horrible haircut.
Yeah, but he
Yeah.
seems like a genuine guy. He looks like a loser,
He does look like a loser.
but he doesn't wear hats as much. So,
Drew is a real man.
so
Yeah, he
Kale
is.
believes he's a real man.
Have you ever seen him in a
but he
t-shirt?
seems like a very nice guy and like fair owner. I don't know.
Yeah.
He did
Yeah.
move them out of Oakland
He did. He did do that.
in his father's spirit, which his father did twice.
Yeah. To LA.
Once for a
LA.
couple of years, and
Yeah.
once. I guess the second time was just threatening, sued the
Maybe.
league, all that great stuff.
Janikowski was the Raiders' first pick that round, but also he was the first kicker selected in the first round since 1966 when he was taken there. So that's my dude, Sebastian Janikowski.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah.
He looked like a football player too.
He did. And looking through to try to figure out stuff, there's a
He
Josh
looked like
Lambo.
Andy Reid in that punt pass kick competition.
But
He's
there's a
just a
Josh
monster.
Lambo quote where I guess like he had said something to him and he laughed, and they had asked him about it. His quote was, "When Sebastian Janikowski says something funny to you, you laugh. I don't know what to tell you."
Did he get in any like legal trouble after?
I
The
couldn't
03
find
stuff?
it. The last thing I found was at 2010.
Oh,
So I
okay.
couldn't
Yeah,
find
you said
anything since
2010.
then. Yeah.
All right, maybe he cleaned his act up.
Maybe. I haven't heard much about him
Maybe.
in a while. Since 2018, but still. Yeah.
None of us have really. Yeah. All right. The man who guessed the last one, Braden, go ahead. What do you got?
Okay, so I was thinking about a couple of other guys. I'll just tell you who they were because it was Shane Ray.
Oh, from Missouri?
Jeez, yeah. I was like, I
Okay.
wouldn't
Broncos linebacker?
Yes.
think.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
And
You
then
like you like your mid 2010s Broncos.
that page.
You've
Then
done
I
a
was
couple.
thinking about a guy who was even less prolific in the NFL. That would have been Michael Sam.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
but
was-
hold on. Also,
Missouri
a
linebacker.
Missouri linebacker.
He was hyperlinked in the Shane Ray
Oh,
article.
Oh, okay. Because they were on the same team together.
There
were
would
they
have
not?
been a dead giveaway for the Michael Sam.
yeah,
hit.
yeah. And then my third guy I was thinking about before settling on my guy was Moritz Boehringer. He didn't do anything in the NFL.
I don't think I know who
But
that
he
is.
was just
I don't
a
either.
German. He was the first European to go to the NFL before not playing in college football.
Oh,
Huh.
good for him. But
What position?
Tight end.
I vaguely remember this.
Interesting.
But okay,
Okay, but you actually pick.
Wait,
I
what?
do have a guy.
Why are there so many Broncos?
I don't know where this Broncos thing's coming from.
It's also with that Peyton Manning goat thing that he brought up
Yeah.
a long time ago that irks me still. But go ahead.
That's just funny. Like that would be like me being like my goat's Kobe Bryant. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no,
Like,
I wanted to see
it's
Peyton
not
Manning
on
lose
the-
every single week.
On
even
the
when we weren't playing.
surface, it's not like a bad pick,
No,
right?
not
I
at
think
all.
he's the second best quarterback ever. But it's just a guy who just beat your team's head in
every two times
time,
a year,
man.
every year.
Oh,
Sorry,
like
Brandon,
almost,
didn't mean to interrupt.
yeah, like wanted to put your franchise back into non-existence. Yeah. Anyway,
Sorry.
So my guy played in the NFL from 2012 to 2017.
Okay.
oh,
Shortish,
this dude,
shortish
man,
career.
this dude.
Eh, eh.
I
He
can already feel it.
is perhaps most remembered. First, he was a one-time Pro Bowler and a one-time first-team All-Pro.
Okay, both the same year?
Yeah,
Okay.
his rookie year.
Oh.
All right.
So he came in
you said was
hot.
2012.
2012. He played college football for Georgia.
Okay.
Glory, am I right?
Was picked by the Vikings in the 6th round of the draft.
Okay.
He set the record for consecutive field goals made of 50 yards or more.
Another kicker.
Really? Another
Okay.
kicker.
In college, he was known as the Athens Assassin.
Is this Rodrigo? No. It wasn't him.
Like
He played for
shit.
the Colts anyway.
Yeah.
How long did he play for the
I just
Vikings?
knew Georgia kickers.
From 2012 to 2016.
Ooh.
He's perhaps
Okay, go ahead.
most famously known for a blunder in the playoffs.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was his last kick with the Vikings, which was
It actually
fucking
wasn't.
terrible.
It actually wasn't.
Really, he made it the next year.
He did.
Okay. It was like somewhere between 25 and 35 yards. It was a complete chip shot. They were down 12-10 to the Seahawks. It was the year they played at the University of Minnesota, so it was outside. It was like negative 10 degrees, and he just fucking hooked it. Like,
Shanked that.
out of it was almost incomprehensible. It's Blair Walsh, isn't it?
It is Blair Walsh.
Yeah.
Who then joined the Seahawks in his last year.
I
Really?
remember him with the
It all
Seahawks,
comes
but
full circle.
I don't remember him playing at Georgia. Okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't know where he went to college. Yeah. Does it have like does it talk about that kick? Do you have his Wikipedia?
Yeah, it's his it's the last paragraph in his 2015 season.
Oh, how long was the kick?
27.
27
That's
yards.
the thing is his whole career is one paragraph, and then that one kick's a whole other paragraph.
He was 3 for 3 before that in the game.
Oh man,
Dude.
And he started his career.
Oh yeah, it was 10-9, I think. Not
Yeah, it was
12 to
10-9.
10. Yeah, they would have won 12-10.
He was 10 for 10 in field goals over 50 yards his rookie season. And he broke the record the next year.
They were inside then. They were inside in his rookie year.
Yep.
Just want that to be thrown out there. Oh, that is killer. 27 yards. Somewhere Billy Cundiff, who missed a 31-yarder to lose the AFC Championship, was like, thank God.
Remember, wasn't it like Cody Parquet from the Bears who had a big deal like that?
Yeah,
too?
the double
That was
doink.
the double doink.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But that was like 40 yards. That was a little bit.
True.
Yeah,
that
it
was
was
a bit longer.
It was more of a legit kick, and like he almost had it.
He did. That was the year that
man.
the Eagles lost to, was it the Rams?
The Rams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think or was it the Saints? And the Saints lost to the Rams. I think the Cowboys might have lost to the Rams. Rams went to the Super Bowl.
They did, and they lost.
To the Patriots. Yeah. Man, I will never forget where I was for that. Well, maybe, but I haven't forgotten yet. I was at Martin Hall at Baylor University. It was my freshman year, and I didn't like the Seahawks. I felt the Seahawks for those couple of years when they won the Super Bowl, got to the Super Bowl again, lost to the Patriots. They had like this just wild, it felt like luck going in their way for so many of these games. And I mean, look, you obviously have to have some skill to win the Super Bowl. They won it by 35 points. But it just felt like they would just get lucky over and over and over again. And they had a bunch of games like that where they weren't even scoring touchdowns, and their defense bailed them out, and something wild would happen in their favor. And this was like the boiling point. I was like, holy shit, when is this team when is this going to run out? And they got killed by the Panthers the next week, but which sounds like a wild thing to say in the year 2024. But yeah, that was an interesting moment. Blair Walsh, man. That is up there with some of the great Vikings choke moments, of which there are plenty.
There's a lot of those, yeah.
I feel for the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And that's city in toto. But that, because they are a really, really good fan base.
The best team
Vikings.
probably would be the Twins, right?
Right now, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, no, like in the totality of their.
Yeah, they got 2 championships.
Yeah. But I feel like
Yeah.
the Twins have let them down here lately too. They're a
I mean,
team
sure.
that
They also had the longest postseason losing stretch
That's
true.
in history.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had 2 World Series.
or the Timberwolves let them down. That's the thing is they're a city that here lately, is used to teams being good and then just not being able to get over the hump.
Yep. The Vikings, though, man, In fact, I would go as far as saying this. Bold statement incoming, okay?
Okay.
Because there's a difference between a curse and a drought, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The Red Sox, I thought, in the 86 years between 1918 and 2004, like there was no bigger like curse. Like they got to the World Series like every decade and would always go to 7 games and they would always fucking lose. And they just found new ways to lose. They would like epic comebacks fall short. They had epic blown leads both in like during the regular season and in World Series. Like it couldn't happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were consistently very good. Whereas the Cubs, that was a drought. Because for the most part, for those 70 years between making the World Series, they stunk.
That's true.
Like a lot of the time.
It's true.
It wasn't like they kept getting there and couldn't quite get over the mountain. So anyway, that's a quick differentiation there between curse and drought. And I say that to say the Vikings might be the closest to what the Red Sox had in terms of a curse.
Mm-hmm.
They made it to 4 Super Bowls in the span of a decade in the 60s and 70s. They lost them all.
What about the Bills?
The Bills are also up there, but I think there's more if you look back, I think there's more futility with the Bills than there is with the Vikings. Like the Vikings, I would say for most of their history, like they were winning in good 6 or 7 out of every 10-year span.
Mm-hmm.
98, they have the best offense ever, and like they find an incomprehensible way to lose. They lose at home to the Falcons, who were big underdogs, and once again, it kind of comes down to a field goal. My man Anderson missed his first field goal of the whole year, and they lose in overtime. And then it's shit like the Blair Walsh thing, or Brett Favre comes in, resurrects his career. The Vikings are good again, and Brett Favre is finally taking care of the football. He's not throwing picks. Throws one across his body, pick on what would have been the game-winning drive in the NFC Championship game to go to the Super Bowl. Like they find ways. They have one of the great last-second wins in NFL playoff history, and then they get their ass kicked the next week in the NFC Championship game in 2017. Like it's just, I feel for these people, man. I feel for these people. I had a teacher in elementary school who was a big Vikings fan. Very rare in New England, especially at that time, that someone was rooting for anyone other than the Patriots. And I think they are the closest. I think that's the closest to what the Red Sox had. So, shout out to the Vikings. The Bills, absolutely. 4 straight Super Bowl losses. Any way you cut it, that has to feel like a curse.
Mm-hmm.
Like how does not one break your way?
Yeah.
But there's a lot of bad in between. A lot of bad in between. Anyway, thank you for that, Braden. Thank you for that, Blair Walsh, and that opportunity for me to lay out curse versus drought. That's probably going to be a whole segment at some point when it's very slow. My guy, my dude. Sorry, I am the guy. It's not a kicker.
Okay.
I can't believe
I thought we were going to have a theme today without even knowing it.
Could have done so many. Scott Missin Sisson, which is one of my favorite. Actually, it is my favorite kicker nickname. Missin Sisson. That's great. No, my guy is not a kicker. He also does not play American football, or did not as a profession anyway.
Did he play a different form of football?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
Figured I'd ask when you said it that way.
He did not.
Footy.
I wonder if we'll ever have a soccer dude.
It'd probably have to come from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, you guys know a little bit, so it's like, it's tough to find someone like that.
I'd be able to call out 2 names and then be lost if it
yeah.
weren't those 2 guys, kind of thing. I feel like.
Anyway, doesn't play either one of those.
Okay.
And I thought of him because he
sweet.
is a player that is mentioned in Seinfeld, Braden's favorite show now, which he is watching. I don't know if he's seen this episode yet, but made his name with a different team, also in the American League, as an outfielder for years. In fact, this guy was so not fleet of foot that the other team that he played for used to leave the grass in right field where he played a little bit longer so that balls wouldn't come up as quickly on him.
Oh, I've heard that anecdote.
He is from Clear Lake, Texas, or not Clear Lake. He went to Clear Lake. He's from League City, Texas.
Okay.
Which is also where one of my ex-girlfriends
Did he not have
is
to,
from.
just out of curiosity, Is there a reason, too, that he didn't have to field as much as because the guy in center could cover a lot of the outfield?
He did have a center fielder who could cover a lot of the field.
Yeah.
He did also play at McLennan Community College, which is right down the street from
I know
where
who
we're
it
living
is.
right now, and won a national championship.
He
played 14 years, 2 for the Yankees, the rest for the Seattle Mariners. Braden, do you have any guess before
I was just going
Zach
to
gets
add an anecdote before I gave it away. Is he was those teams, like growing up as a fan of Ken Griffey Jr., I love those Mariners teams. So, like, this guy, Edgar Martinez, like just all, they were
RJ.
just, Tino was there for a bit too. They had both Martinez's at the time.
Joey Cora?
Yes, dude. So this guy, a bit of a power bat too. Like,
Yep.
I think
Definitely
he had a
pop.
season where he at least hit 40, I think.
Maybe.
But
It's like going around then.
yeah.
Mostly 90s, 87 to 01.
Nope.
He's a guy. Well, he's a dude.
He's a dude.
He's a dude. We're the guys that are naming him.
And it is probably what will go down as Frank Costanza's favorite player.
Okay, duh.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
Jay Buhner? Jay Buhner, man.
What the hell did you trade Jay Buhner for? He hit 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. He's got a rocket for an arm. You don't know what the hell you're doing. I said it would come back. I love that scene in
Dude, I love
Seinfeld, man. That's one of my favorites ever. George is dead. Steinbrenner's here. Call me back. Yeah, Jay Buhner, man.
Dude.
Just a solid, dependable bat for a long time.
I love me some Jay Buhner.
And he was famous for a buzz cut. So I'm going to bring up some of the events that the Mariners have done since. They used to host Buhner Buzz Night during his career, where visitors would receive free admission in the right field seats if they had a shaved head. And if not, free buzz cuts were provided for people who showed up with hair.
Oh, that's funny.
Buhner himself participated in giving fans of all ages buzz cuts, which included women.
Ooh, okay.
He used Bad to the Bone as his walk-up
I
song.
do remember that.
Although Buhner's jersey number 19 has not been issued since, it has also not been officially retired per the team's policy regarding retired numbers, which I bring up because I hate when teams have policies on retired numbers. Okay, the Red Sox had them for years. You had to be in the Hall of Fame. You had to play your whole career with the Red Sox. It's stupid. They've done away with it. The Carlton Fisk didn't have his number retired for years because of that.
Yeah.
And like Ortiz wouldn't have had his number retired. He played for the Twins.
So is all they have here lately Griffey's in? Like, what hoops would you have to? Because Jay Buhner seems like a guy who's.
I don't know if that's their parameter.
Fair enough.
I don't know if it's their parameters. It might just be Hall of Fame because Griffey has his number retired.
Yeah.
But I hate that. I also hate when teams go over the top with retiring numbers, like my Boston Celtics have done. They're way over the top. But like retiring a number is supposed to be something like, I don't know, a tie to the team. You know what I mean? Not even as much physical, like they're great players. They also have a great tie to the team. Anyway, some other claims to fame that he has. Sorry. They do go on to say the Mariners require a player to have spent at least 5 years with the team and be elected to the Hall of Fame, or narrowly miss election after spending substantially his entire career with the team, which Buhner was not really close to being in the Hall of Fame, but I think
he was on the ballot for a bit. But yeah,
I think they should be like, oh, okay, well, if we got pretty vague with the back half of that. Anyway, Buhner holds the Mariners record for career strikeouts and the lowest career stolen base percentage since 1954.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
He wasn't running.
6 stolen bases against 24 times. That's an easy calculation of 20%. How about that? And they got a whole thing about his appearance on Seinfeld. Ken Phelps, who he was traded for. Buhner's a good prospect, no question about it, but my baseball people love Ken Phelps' bat. They kept saying, Ken Phelps, Ken Phelps! And that clip was played at Safeco Field when Buhner was inducted into the Mariners Hall of Fame in 2004. By the way, he's in the team Hall of Fame.
So,
we could put his number up there.
Yeah. I mean, if the Braves
Roger Clemens' number is unofficially retired with the Red Sox.
I was going to say, well, if Wade Boggs' number is retired with the Rays, like.
Yeah. And the Red Sox. He was only a one-time All-Star, which was I was kind of surprised to see that.
It was like 97 or 96?
96.
Yeah.
1 Gold Glove.
96?
96. Yep. 310 career homers, just missed 1,000 RBI. Like that's a pretty good career 250 hitter.
Mm-hmm.
Good career, man. Jay Buhner, and was absolutely a part of the beef of that lineup, the middle of that lineup, with some pretty good Mariners teams to the mid to late 90s, the teams that saved baseball in Seattle, which I guess we're all thankful for. I don't really see Seattle as a great baseball city, but
I like the
they
Mariners
still
as a
exist
team.
because of those guys.
Well.
Ken Griffey, Jay Buhner, Edgar Martinez, young shortstop by the name of Alex Rodriguez, Randy Johnson, Vince Coleman, others.
Those teams
And Jay
are so
Buhner
fun.
was a leader on that team, man. He's right in the middle of it. And what I hate is that he retired after the 0-1 season, which was when the Mariners won 116 games. And I just think him going throughout that whole season thinking, finally, I've got a shot. Like we're so good. I'm going to play in the World
Was
Series.
Ichiro there on that 2001 team?
Yes,
by
it was
then?
his rookie year. Yep.
Oh, Griffey was in Cincinnati by then.
Yep. And so he's thinking, like, finally, I'm going to play in the World Series. This is the dream come true. And they lose in the ALCS after winning 116 games.
Yeah.
Jay Buhner, that's a dude. Blair Walsh, he's a dude. The Vikings are dudes.
Vikings
fans are dudes. I didn't even talk about that, like the in-season collapse they had in 03 or 04, where they were like 7-1 or 8-0 and didn't make the playoffs. Like, it was insane.
Sebastian Janikowski.
Sebastian Janikowski also a dude. Kickers are dudes too, man.
Kickers are dudes.
They
I'm
are,
going to be
for
interviewing
sure.
a kicker tonight, which is not going to mean anything to the people watching this show because it's for a completely different program. But I will bring this up, that kickers are dudes.
Yeah.
Braden Murray's a dude. Zach Burke's a dude. Cam Stewart, wishy-washy. We'll see. That is the Cam Show, powered by Rogue Media Sports Network. We'll see you on Monday. That's the end of the show. Now is the end. It's over. This is the end. Beautiful friend. It's over now. Kaput. Fin.
We are Rogue Media Sports.